The landscape of college sports is changing dramatically with the transfer portal and the NIL, just tremendously changing. So unlike anything we've ever gone through in our life, but the NIL deals, which Jayden Daniels did have an NIL deal here. Mm-hmm. He had a car and a pizza place, and Spencer Rattler had 2 cars at Oklahoma, and his money. I think Caleb Williams got, going to USC, I think he's getting well over $1 million in stuff, so it's changing quite a bit. But yeah, Jayden Daniels, the second he entered the transfer portal, he is no longer under scholarship at ASU, which made me believe, and I said it yesterday, very, very likely he knows where he's going.
Yeah, I would imagine there's been some contact behind the scenes, and there has been some discussions about where he is going to end up. Matt Berry, the SportsCenter anchor, who's also an ASU alum, he's got some connections within the program. He is often speaking on the national platform, whether it's SportsCenter or whether it's his Twitter account, about things going on at ASU. He was a guest this morning on Bickley and Murata, and he said there's no doubt there was more going on with Jayden here than just meets the eye.
With Jayden, there was more going on, and I know that with the parent situation, there had been times where parent was vocal about players not performing up to their ability, which is what made son suffer, Jayden. Because player X couldn't block or player Y couldn't catch the ball, that's why Jayden struggles. Well, that doesn't sit well with anyone. So if all of a sudden you have this negative thing going on and the quarterback's not stepping up to squash it, you're going to have a problem inside the locker room.
Okay, I'm laughing. I'm laughing, not at what he's saying. I'm laughing because it kind of sounds like the stuff that we all went through when our kids were playing Little League, right? Or when our kids were in Pop Warner football. Well, my kid would have 5 touchdowns if your kid hadn't dropped the pass, right? Or my kid would have 2 RBIs instead he only got 1 because your kid
didn't tag up or
got thrown out at home, right? I mean,
why would he go halfway down the line and not tag up?
It's the kind of stuff that you thought really only the parents of 9 or 10-year-olds dealt with. Didn't realize this was going on at a major level like ASU and Pac-12 football, and yet there it is that maybe the parental situation, the mom situation.
The mom is running the show. And I talked about this yesterday. Yeah. The mom is very involved, is running the show. It's very likely they're going to get a better NIL deal somewhere else than what they have here. And so, when I checked in yesterday, I spoke with a lot of people, in and outside that program. Not surprised at all that this came down the way it did. So Jayden Daniels is going to leave. We talked about the 5 quarterbacks that they have that could replace him. They could still go transfer portal. But the mom is on the sidelines, during practices. Yeah. She was for a while. But make no mistake about it. I mean, I was told the same thing yesterday. I said it on the show. The mom is very, very involved and has been running that show with Jayden for a while.
There was also a lot more about Herm in all of this. And here's Matt Berry, and then we're going to riff on this for a couple of minutes and how Herm's loyalty has been taken advantage of throughout this.
Herm's not happy. He's the least happy in this situation. What's going on in Arizona State is that someone, a head coach whose biggest trait is loyalty, that's who he is, he's a loyal person, his loyalty was taken advantage of. And now we're in a situation here where from the outside looking in, it doesn't look good. But Arizona State still, to me, is one of those places, as you said, there's no excuse for not winning football games. And it's still, as far as desirable location, again, USC doesn't want me, bring me to Tempe.
And this really comes back to what we've been talking about for a long time. I've been told they're going to have to eat some scholarships. There's going to be a bowl ban, but it's not the end of the program. I've said I doubt that Antonio Pierce survives this, and he's not there. They took him off the recruiting trail for 6 or 7 months. They initially put 3 coaches on paid administrative leave and then basically said their attorneys reached out and said, look, you either resign or be fired. So all around Herm, you're losing your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, a bunch of your coaches. Now your quarterback tells you he's going to stay, and he's not going to stay. It's probably taken a lot for Herm to suck this up and fight through this. He's got other guys around him. He's got other allies, right? They brought in Billick, and they've got Marvin, and there's others, and they've upgraded some of the. Bobby Wade's been upgraded, and Justin Wood's been upgraded, so they'll fill a coaching staff. but it's got to be very, very difficult for Herm to lose all of these people around him, and including players.
Yeah.
Players that have left.
Yeah, I mean, look, Herm's got to be embarrassed because he was, even when Jayden Daniels released that video in which he said he was coming back, Herm kind of laughed back in December and said, well, of course he's coming back. He was never not going to come back. Well, now Herm does kind of look foolish for not only that, but for not pursuing Spencer Rattler more actively, knowing that. Yesterday we had Chris Cartman on, who thought that there was a real chance Spencer Rattler could have come here. I know you've talked about him getting that NIL money from somewhere else, but it's obvious that based off of the commitment they got from Jayden Daniels, they thought this thing was done and that he was coming back. And it's pretty clear he burned them. Spencer Rattler or not, he burned them.
I have heard that there was interest in Spencer Rattler regardless of Jayden Daniels, that there was interest, there was conversations that were involved. ASU doesn't have the capabilities of some of these other schools. He went to South Carolina. Now, I'd be interested to see, what's his NIL deal there. Did he get 2 cars like he had when he was in Norman? But I was told flat out that there was some conversations there with now it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a call involved and interest in Spencer coming to ASU.
And certainly this does not absolve Herm, he, as embarrassed as he might be, this does not absolve Herm of not minding the store with his program, because obviously there was a lot going on that if he did know about is bad. If he didn't know about it, it's almost worse because that's his program and you've got to know.